Okay, hey guys, welcome to or back to my channel, welcome to another book video, and welcome to my January reading recap. I read 18 books, so we've got quite a lot to get through. I can't wait though, I've had such a good reading month, oh my god, and also we got ahead of our 2025 reading goal. I think I'm 8 ahead, which is good. I think, what's my goal, 100 or 150? 150? I don't know. 125. I think it's 125. Yeah, it is. Okay, anyway. So I thought I'd talk about all the books I read this month, give you a brief synopsis. Oh my god, why can't I say that word? Give you a brief synopsis, let you know what I thought, my rating, kind of what it's about, so you know if you could read it or not, because I love these types of videos so much. So I thought I would. Also, Mini Mike is out. I don't know if when you're watching this you'll have seen a video where the Mini Mike made an appearance, but here it is. I hope the sound quality is better. So that's at least a positive, hopefully. So I started the month reading the Holiday Cozy Mystery series by Tonya Capps. This is a cozy mystery series, and they're relatively short books, which does contribute to how many books I've read. About 150, 200 pages-ish. They're on Kindle Unlimited, which is why I kind of binge them. They are good. They're good. They are not groundbreaking, at least personally to me. I saw so many people give them 5 stars. Like, they've got such high average ratings, between 4 and 4.5 stars average rating on Goodreads, which is really high on Goodreads. And yeah, they've got good ratings. So clearly a lot of people enjoy them. I thought they were good. I think the lowest I gave one was 2.75 and the highest was like 3.25. So they were around the 3-star mark. So I read all of them apart from the first 2, because I read the first 2 in December. So I've now read the series, caught up. I think there's 11 books. So I read 9 of them this year. Yes. So I'm not going to kind of go into detail of all of the different books separately, because the premise of all of them is basically they're set in this little small town called Holiday Junction. Picture Stars Hollow in Gilmore Girls, but to a point where the town celebrates holidays to a crazy level. So picture New Year's Day, Christmas, obviously, Thanksgiving, but then like St. Patrick's Day, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, all the holidays that you could possibly celebrate, they are celebrating. I didn't even know that some of these holidays existed, or at least wasn't too aware of what they were for, because I'm not American, you know, like Columbus Day. I think there's a Columbus Day one. There's an April Fool's one. They go crazy for holidays, and in each book there's a murder, and so, or at least one, and Violet, the main character, takes it upon herself to solve it. So she is a journalist at the local newspaper, and in the first book, which I didn't read this month, but in the first book you see her kind of arriving in Holiday Junction. Then the rest of the books, she's in there, she's got a little love interest in Darren, and Darren's father is the chief of police, and so he is kind of solving the mysteries alongside Violet, who's almost trying to beat him. They're called cozy mysteries, so it's not too graphic, it's nothing scary. I am pretty squeamish, pretty sensitive, as in not good with blood or gory things. These are absolutely fine for me. I have no issues with them. They are cozy mysteries for a reason. They're just cute little small town. Yes, there's a mystery, but it just makes it fun. They're mindless, easy reads, and so I would recommend them, definitely. Maybe if you want a palate cleanser, if you've read a long book series or a hard book, or maybe you're in reading slump, this will probably get you out of one, because you just want to keep reading. So I do recommend them. Next, I read The Plot Twist by Eleanor Goymer. I actually received an ARC for this, so this comes out in March the 25th. Yes, the 25th, relatively soon. And I gave this one 3.75 stars. It was really good. So Ali, the main character, is an author. She writes mainly romance books, and she goes to this work party and meets Martin, who is a crime author. I think it's crime. It's something along those lines, crime mystery-esque. And they're both struggling writing, kind of facing writer's block, but they both have deadlines, so they agree to help each other write their books. But Martin is not a love interest for Ali. He's like 60s, 50s, and Ali's 20s, so there's no love going on there. But at the same party, Ali meets Will, who is a love interest, and so it follows Ali getting to know Will, Ali working with Martin to write this book, lots of issues with that, kind of a look into the writing publishing world, which obviously is relatively accurate, because obviously the author is a writer, common sense, and so she knows all about the writing world. So it was nice to get kind of an insight through a fictional lens. I thought the book was a quick, easy read. I really enjoyed it. I feel like I've not read a book like this, at least recently, so it felt unique. I guess that sounds like really cringy to say, but it did feel different, and I really enjoyed that because it wasn't so predictable. There were a couple of little plot twists, but I did really enjoy it. And also because there was the 2 storylines of kind of Ali with Martin writing this book, and then Ali and Will actually having romance, it made it a bit more interesting because you weren't just focused on the romance like some romance books are, and that's no hate to other books, but sometimes it's nice to have a subplot, which is why I like reading sports romances so much, because you get the sports subplot as well. You know, you find out like about the games or whatever, which just makes it more exciting. My only issue with it was that it was written in third person. I prefer first. So if you really don't like third person books, maybe not, but I don't really like them. I much prefer first, but I had no issue with it. I just would rather it have been in first, but that's such a minor complaint. So then I read The Perfect Mother by Claire Allen. This was an arc, but it's expected to come out on the 5th of Feb. So by the time you're watching this video, I think it's already out, or maybe you're watching this on the 5th. You're watching it around the 5th. I think it might be after. I don't know. So it's out, or it's almost out. I think you're watching this after the 5th though. I'm filming this on the 1st, so it's almost out. In the book, Mel is the main character, and she used to be almost a birth coach. She used to help women through their pregnancy, through their birth, kind of using natural methods. And she meets Alice and she coaches her with her baby, and something goes wrong in the pregnancy, and so Mel is kind of shunned out because Alice is going around saying, Mel ruined this pregnancy for me, Mel's did this and that. So Mel and her husband end up moving to a new town, very isolated. They buy this new house and they're renovating it, so they're having to live in a caravan, and Mel is now pregnant, which is partly why she moved away, because she thought, I don't want to deal with this, because she does have a young daughter, but she's also pregnant with another child. So they move to this isolated house, there's no one around, they meet one neighbour. It's a thriller, so if you like that type of book, go for it. And yeah, 3.75 stars. I don't know if I already told you that. 3.75 stars. So I did really enjoy it. I would definitely recommend it. It was really good, and my first thriller of the year, so it started off with a bang. Then I read A Premeditated Murder by Naru Mahandas. I am so sorry if I butchered that name. I'll make sure it's on the screen, like all of the other books. The author and title will be on the screen. I give this one 4 stars. Again, an arc. Guys, this is the last arc that I read this month. I'm so sorry. But this comes out on the 4th of March. I'm seeing Gracie and Leeds that day. So you've not got too long to wait if you do want to read this book. This is my first 4-star read of the year. It is a mystery. It's set in a hospital. The main character, Nina, is a med student, which is why it's called Premeditated Murder, you know, like little play on words. She's a med student and she's just starting in this hospital working as, I don't really know the med terms. She's like a practice doctor. I don't really know what you'd call her, but that's what Nina's doing. She's in a hospital, and her and some of her classmates stumble across a body after some funny things are going on. You know, they have a few funny encounters, a lot of people in their little friend group, and so they try and solve it. The mystery comes, honestly, 50% the way through. The first bit is quite a lot of character building, so if you don't like character development, character driven books, because there's not too much plot, at least for the first 50%, so it was relatively slow, but it picked up. I thought it was still relatively quick, easy read, and I really enjoyed it. I really, really did. 4 stars. Such a good book, honestly, and yeah, I've never read something by this author. This might even be their debut book. I feel like it is. So definitely go and read it, because you want to support new up-and-coming authors, and if she's not new up-and-coming, then you still want to support authors, obviously. Then my first physical book of the year, I read A Life Impossible by Matt Haig. I actually did vlog this. I'll make sure that the video is linked here in case you want to go and read it. It was the video where I read the highest and lowest rated books on my physical TBR. So this was the lowest rated book, and I gave it 3.5 stars, which is literally exactly what it's given on Goodreads. I feel like it's changed since then. It definitely wasn't 3.5 exactly when I read it. So I thought it was exactly as it was. And the main character, Grace, is a retired maths teacher, and she gets left at home in Ibiza by a past colleague at the school who she invited around for Christmas one time, but she wasn't very close with, hasn't heard from this lady in years, honestly decades, not just years. And Grace decides to go to Ibiza, check out this house. She decides she needs a little break because she's not happy with the way her life is going. She's living on her own now, and she's just a bit sick of being in this rut. So she moves to Ibiza, at least temporarily. And there's a bit of magical realism in this book. And yeah, this is my kind of, I don't dabble too much in magical realism. I have a little bit this month, but I feel like it's a good way for me to get into fantasy. So this was good, a bit of that type of thing going on. And this book is by the same author as The Midnight Library, Matt Haig, and I really didn't like The Midnight Library, which is kind of why I was putting this book off. And so I was so glad that I got to read it in the video, because it meant, you know, that I could try it out, because otherwise I might have been kind of put off from reading it. But I really liked it. I was so surprised. So 3.5 stars. And it's just kind of interesting reading from the perspective of someone who's a lot older than me, because Grace is 70, I am 19, you know, there's a world of a difference in our age. I usually read, you know, high school, college romances, even people who are maybe 20s or 30s, which just feels a lot closer to me than obviously a 70-year-old. So I would really recommend this book, especially if you didn't like The Midnight Library and you're maybe doubting this book. I would say try it. You have nothing to lose. Then the other book in that little video that I did was Just for the Summer by Faye Keenan. I gave this one 4.25 stars. So this book is actually, again, the main character is not around my age. She's a mother. We didn't ever get the exact age, but she's got 3 children, the oldest being 16. So she's probably like 40s-ish. And Kay is a recent divorcee, and her brother asked her to go to the town that he lives in and decorate his house over the summer. So she moves to this little town on this little road. Her brothers live next to each other, so she's in one of the houses decorating it, and her other brother is next door, and that other brother's wife is pregnant, you know, so you get nice little family time. And her 3 boys aren't with her for most of the summer, and she sparks up this little romance with the bookshop owner, because she decorates his bookshop as well. And it's kind of, because she does not live in this town, there's the element of do I stay, do I go, where's this relationship going to go, what's going to happen between us. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice summer book, but there was obviously a few slightly deeper topics, even just like family relationships, topic of divorce, that type of thing, and more mature relationships where there's more factors to consider, because, you know, she has children, she can't just uproot her life easily. I really liked it and I would really recommend it, and I believe it's on Kindle Unlimited. I did not read it on Kindle Unlimited. I think I got it from the works, but it is on Kindle Unlimited, which I hadn't realised. So I would recommend it. And you can read it for free on Kindle Unlimited. I saw it today on Kindle Unlimited, so unless between now and when this video is posted it gets removed, you can read it on Kindle Unlimited. Then the next 3 books are also in another YouTube video, which I don't know if you'll have seen by now. I actually don't think you will. Maybe it's one of your next videos. In it I read some of the most read books from 2020. So Goodreads published this list, and I just read 3. I got Goodreads polls to kind of decide which ones. So the first one I read was The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I gave this one 5 stars. My first 5-star read of 2025. Not the last of the month, don't you worry. So this was also magical realism. In the book, Clementine recently suffered a loss and she moves into her aunt's apartment in New York City. And Clementine is a publisher of travel books, and she experiences this 7-year slip where sometimes when she goes into her apartment, she slips back in time 7 years. So one time she wakes up, there's this man in the house called Iwan. I do not know if that's how you say his name, but Iwan, he is there, and he is kind of living in the time of 7 years ago, whilst Clementine is taken back 7 years. And when she leaves the apartment, she's back in the real world, she's back in her time zone, and every so often when she goes into this apartment, she's then back 7 years, but it doesn't happen every time. And so the book's kind of about conquering time differences and just showing, you know, you can have the right person, but it can literally be the wrong time, right person, wrong time. This is the example of right person, wrong time. But it was very emotional. I cried multiple times. I've cried at so many books this month, actually. Oh my god. I'm an emotional person. It's my first Ashley Poston book, and such a good one. I can't wait to read her other books. Oh my god. But I just love all the characters so much. I think you just get such a deep connection, and it feels like a relatively realistic book, even though obviously the slipping in time isn't realistic. Just the fact that not all relationships can work, and also not even that, but you've got to work through different struggles in relationships, just feels very relatable coming from someone who's never been in a relationship. Let's ignore that. But just in the way that it might not always work out, at least it might not always work out in the way that you think. Things might work out differently. Then I read The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Oh my god, I'm so bad at pronouncing names. I'm so sorry. This was a 4.5 star. This is a thriller. I think you'd class it as a psychological thriller. Those tend to be the thrillers that I read if I read a thriller. But in the book, Alicia was found with her dead husband, and the police believe that she was the one who killed him because she was there, she was holding the weapon. And the issue is, though, that Alicia refuses to speak. After she is found by the police, she never speaks again. So the police decide not to sentence her to prison, but to put her in a mental hospital instead, because they decide that she wasn't in the right mind frame, I guess you would say. At least that's kind of what they decided. And Theo's another main character, and he is a psychotherapist, and he starts working at this hospital. I think it's called the Grove. I believe that's what it's called. I'm so sorry if it's not, but let's just call it the Grove anyway. So Theo starts working at the Grove, which is where Alicia is, and he takes Alicia on as a patient, and he's read about Alicia in the papers. You know, he's heard about her, and he believes he will be the one to make her talk. So in the book, you're reading in Theo's point of view, in first person, in the present day, but you also have Alicia's diary in the past tense of the months leading up to the incident, shall we say. And you're getting two perspectives, because Theo's then asking questions with lots of different people who were in Alicia's life in the past, and they are saying things that contradict what Alicia's diary said and what Theo's thinking. So you're not trusting anybody, and there are lots of twists and turns, as a lot of psychological thrillers have some plot twists, and it was really good. I gave it 4.5 stars. Like I said, I would recommend it. My first book by this author, and I would say it's good, and I would read another book by him. Then, guys, I don't even think this was, actually, no, I don't even know. Checkmate, guys. Checkmate. Oh my god, I love this book so much. I really do. I've spoken about it so much on my TikTok. I love it. I really do. I don't know what else to say. Checkmate by Ali Hazelwood. 5 stars. Oh my god. So this book's a YA book, and not that I don't want to read YA books and don't like YA books, I just don't tend to gravitate towards them. I don't know whether it's because TikTok, book talk recommendations, or books that I just hear about on Goodreads tend not to be YA, they're just adult books. So not that I stray away from them. I've read a few Ali Hazelwood books. They're literally behind me here. I think I've read most of her books, honestly. This is the best one. So Mallory is the main character, and she used to be like a chess prodigy. You know, she was one of the best at chess. She never entered into the official competition, so she could never get a ranking, but she used to compete in local competitions, and everyone knew that she was incredible. And then she suddenly stops, and no one kind of knows why, but she starts again when she is 18. I think she starts when she's 14 or 15-ish, because it's about 3 or 4 years. So when she's 18, she suddenly starts chess again because she needs to for money, because her family is struggling financially. And in her first game, which was actually before she got scouted for this new job, she just did it as a favor to her friend, she meets Nolan, and she beats him, and Nolan is like the best chess player ever. He's the highest ranked. Everyone talks about him. He's an icon in the chess world. And she beats him. And so someone kind of scouts her, and that she starts working for this chess company. She gets paid, and she competes in these competitions. And it's similar to Ali Hazelwood's other books. Ali often writes about women in STEM, you know, women in underrepresented fields. And this is very much the same. Mallory was the first female in a lot of these competitions to ever compete, and often the only female. And she faces a lot of sexism from her fellow competitors. Idiots. Not from Nolan, no, don't you worry. And it just follows Mallory kind of falling back into love with this sport, and her journey with it, and her journey with her family, and with her friendships, and her journey with Nolan. And it's just so cute. I just love it so much, guys. Don't even. I keep knocking this microphone with my lips. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you can hear it or if it muffles it. I swear to God, if this audio sounds bad, I'm going to be so annoyed. Okay, the next book was The Favourites by Lane Fargo. Yeah. 5 stars. This was added to my faves folder on Goodreads. Honestly, I need to add Checkmate. I'm going to add them right now because they are actually also a faves, 100%. The Favourites by Lane Fargo. Oh my god, I have literally not stopped thinking about this book. I think about them all the time. I'm currently filming a reading vlog, and anytime I try and talk about the main character in the other books I've read since then, I keep trying to say Kat and Heath as the main characters, because I keep thinking about the favourites. So Kat and Heath are ice dancers. They are a pair of ice dancers and they grew up together. Heath has had a tough childhood, as honestly has Kat, but Heath's gone through the foster system and they start competing together. They start training together. The book follows them from when they're about 15 years old and they go to their first nationals competition to when they're competing in very high competitions and after that. So Kat and Heath competed one last time and then suddenly fell off the face of the earth. No one knew what happened, and there's a documentary about them, about their ice dancing journey, about just honestly everything about them and their journey and what happened. So in the book you're following Kat's point of view as she goes through this time period from when she was about 14, 15 to when she's, God even knows, 30s, 40s. I don't think they ever said her exact age, but it was probably, if I did the maths, because they did tell you the years she did things, she was probably like 30s, 40s, probably 40s actually, because I think Heath was 40 at the end of the book. So it follows them all through this time, and at the same time you're getting this almost interview style of the documentary, so different people from Kat and Heath's life, so their competitors, their past friends, people they used to train with, the trainers of their opponents, people that used to interview them back in the day. And Kat and Heath, they have this so strong relationship that's not perfect. It's very, I don't even want to say toxic, but maybe that is the right word. Just a very dynamic, explosive relationship that they just love each other so deeply and they have such a connection. And so it kind of follows their relationship, but it's so much more than a romance book. It's honestly more of a drama. I saw someone on TikTok describe it as a drama, and that's now what I describe it as. So credits to that person because it was so true that it is more of a drama. It just, yeah, it's so good. It follows that ice dancing journey. I knew not really anything about ice dancing. The only ice sports I normally read about were hockey, so I hadn't really read about ice dancers, and it's just incredible. It felt so real and so immersive. I felt like I was living these stories. I felt like they were real people and that I could look them up and they just be real, and it's just so crazy that they're not real, but it was just genuinely such a roller coaster of emotions, and I feel like it really represented the different relationships that you can have, different friendships, different love relationships, different family relationships. It really showed real raw relationships that not many books do. I feel like a lot of books tend to show quite perfect relationships, and if it's not perfect, it's honestly quite formulaic in a way, and that's not an issue really, but just the favorites really showed that there are so many different types of relationships in literally every single way, and it was just so great, and I could just talk about it for hours. I've seen people compare it to Daisy Jones and the Six, because obviously Daisy Jones is in an interview style, obviously that bit similar. I think her writing is quite like Taylor Jenkins Reid, but I think going into it, don't compare it to another book. It's its own book and it deserves its own hype. I also saw some people say it's a bit like Magnolia Parks, and I guess in the toxicity and drama way it is, but like I said, go into it thinking that it's its own book and you will thoroughly enjoy it. I promise you, it's so good. And then the last book that I read this month was The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy. What's this series called? The Campus series or something like that? The Campus Diaries. So it's a spin-off of the Off Campus and Breif series. So this is the second book in the series. The first one was Gigi and Ryder, and Gigi is Garrett and Hannah's daughter from The Deal. So in this book, Diana is Gigi's best friend, and then Shane is Ryder's teammate and best friend. So honestly, the best friends of the first book, and they have just moved into an apartment complex right near each other. Diana's lived there for a bit because her aunt left this apartment to her and it's really close to her uni, and so she thinks, you know what, I'm just going to stay here, it's paid for, the finances are there, it's got a pool, it's brilliant. And Shane moves next door, literally next door. The complexes are little houses, so there's two people on the bottom, two people on the top, so Diana and Shane are the two houses on the top there, on top of each other. And Diana at first is not a fan of Shane. She just thinks that he's kind of full of himself and she's just not a fan. You know, she puts up with him because his best friend is with her best friend, but they don't really stand each other. She's annoyed and she doesn't want anyone in this apartment complex to be a fan of him because she has quite a close relationship, or maybe not even close, kind of odd relationship, and they have town meetings, not even town meetings, so like I guess apartment complex meetings, which gives Gilmore Girls so much, where they just all argue about different situations. So if you're craving that type of thing, this is the book. And that bit gives small town, because almost they are a little small town in this little apartment complex. But Shane and Diana agree to fake date because they're both dealing with different issues with their exes. I would say for this book, look up the trigger warnings. I was fine with them, hadn't looked at the trigger warnings, but if you think you might be triggered by it, I obviously don't want to say it now, because if you don't look at trigger warnings and don't want anything spoiled at all, don't. But I don't think the trigger warnings will be too spoilery, but just I recommend looking them up if you think that that's best for you, and if you usually need to do that. Just universe, you get a lot of little cameos from the characters, and I'm currently reading the third book, which I got as an arc, which is why I wanted to read the second one before the third one, because I'd read the first one. So yeah, I would really recommend it. And that was the last book that I read. Did I tell you that I gave it 4.5 stars? I don't know if I did. But yeah, that's it. My back is killing me, so I need to lie down, be in like a flat position. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much. If you like this type of video, if you like the book videos, please let me know. Please subscribe. Please give the video a thumbs up and comment. Commenting really helps. So if you can comment anything, just tell me your favorite book that you read this month, or tell me if you've enjoyed any of the books that I read. Just please, it really does help if you have the time to comment. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, let me know what other videos you want to see. Comment them down below. And that is it. Thank you for watching. I love you. Lots of new videos to come, I promise. Lots of reading vlogs and reading recommendations, but also normal vlogs and fangirl videos. Everything you've got coming your way. So stay tuned. I love you. Goodbye.